There's a number of things that come into that. But at the end of the day, the single thing I do want to take, and actually I think someone stole this thunder earlier, no innovation ever came about by responding to RFPs. Right? You can't wait until a customer says, well, I have a spec I want you guys to design for, and expect to come up with something innovative. Now, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing to respond to customer RFPs. But if your management says, well, we're going to wait until we get some really interesting RFP we can bid on, and then we'll sort of marshal. This is not going to happen. None of those innovations that we talked about came from an RFP. But, like in the Pullman example in Scotch tape, when your customer comes to you and says, we don't know if you have anything like this, but we've got this problem. We didn't even know how to put it into an RFP. Could you work with us to develop a solution? Now all of a sudden you're stoking the fires of innovation. All right. Next we're going to talk about is today, and this is a very key point. The one that I want to make from here is simply that today's economic conditions, if you really look under them, it's not just the residual effect of derivative markets gone awry. It isn't just a slump in the housing market, and once we get that solved, everything's going to be just fine. Are folks familiar with the Russian economist, philosopher Kondratyev? Kondratyev curves? You get the prize for being the most literate. I love this.
You got an audience full of consultants.
Ah, okay. So tell us what you know about Kondratyev and his curves.
Well, they're a lot like sunspot curves, as a matter of fact, except instead of 11-year cycle, they're 22-year cycle. And it shows
Long-term.
Lots long-term cycles and a whole lot of different things happen, not all going up and going down at the same time, but there's a lot of cause and effect stuff going on. So you can see that if the education system is doing something, then 6 years later, the industrial system is going to be doing something.
And they're all linked.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's over an astonishing period of time, like about 300
years. Yeah.
Well,
Or
150 years is the Industrial Revolution part, but
Right.
he pushes it back into agriculture and so forth.
Yeah.
And then his critics will say, yeah, well, it's like, Nostradamus. You can go look at a broken line on the pyramid
Yeah.
and predict everything.
Except that it turns out that he's largely right.